This is the Angels Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Los Angeles Angels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast, coming at you live as always. Oh, I just got word the Angels just struck out again. Oh, wait, nope. That's just me having flashbacks here. The Angels strike out 18 times, but welcome back to the latest edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast, coming at you live, as always, after every single Angels game right here on the Locked On Angels YouTube channel and after the fact, both on the channel and wherever you get the Locked On Angels audio podcast feed. If you don't know who I am, the Angels just struck out again. Hello, everybody. My name is Gavin Carlson, former credentialed journalist in the LA area, spent 4 years covering UCLA sports with the Daily Bruin, and now in year 2 with the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. If you can't tell by my horrible jokes, if you can't tell by the title, if you can't tell by the thumbnail, if you can't tell by the comment section, the Angels didn't know how to put the bat on the ball today. 18 strikeouts as a team. 18, including 14 from George Kirby in a 3-2 loss for our Angels. They had the opportunity to sweep the Seattle Mariners on Sunday, and they laid an egg. Pretty incredible that the Angels put up 2 runs despite having 2 hits, 18 strikeouts, and just 3 base runners the entire game, right? A miracle that you're able to put up 2 runs, and a miracle that you're in this game, the tying run up to hit the entire game, right? Or after the 4th inning, right? You actually took the lead in the 4th inning. You fall behind in the 5th, but still a 1-run game for innings, from innings 5 through 9. You only needed 1 swing to somehow tie this game because the pitching for the Angels was great. And so we'll talk about this loss and what it means, because I'm a bit conflicted, honestly, about if this is a missed opportunity or, just a game where you lose to a fantastic starting pitcher. I'll give you my final verdict on that later, but without any further ado, we have to get to the most obvious segment of all time.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Yeah, let's not waste any time. George Kirby absolutely mows through the Angels lineup with one of the most impressive starts in 2025. The guy goes 7 innings, gives up just 2 hits, 2 base runners, no walks, and strikes out 14. He strikes out 14. And if it wasn't for the Angels turning their only 2 base runners into 2 runs, it would have been, historic performance watch for George Kirby, right? Imagine if it's 7 or probably 8 innings of scoreless ball with 15 strikeouts, right? One of the most impressive starts of the year, right? It already still is, because just 2 hits, 2 runs for the Angels. And again, I in case you haven't heard me the 18 times I've already said it, 14 strikeouts. Oh my goodness. And it's interesting because this is a combination of 2 things. It's a combination of a lineup that strikes out way too much and a starting pitcher in George Kirby who is very talented, right? And don't be fooled by, his rough start to the season. He's coming off an injury. He's only had 4 starts, right? And coming into this game, just 3 starts. He was 0-3. The ERA was all the way up at 8.56. He gave up 5 earned runs in just 3 2/3 innings on May 22nd in his debut this season, then gave up 6 earned runs in 5 innings. And then in his most recent start on June 3rd against the Orioles, goes 5 innings, gives up just 2 runs. But that only dropped the ERA to 8.56. And so I made as Joel properly calls me out for, I predicted a win today. I got fooled by the bloated ERA and said, hey, I know Kirby's talented, but he's struggling. We still haven't seen him pitch well in 2025, going up against Tyler Anderson, who has pitched well this season. Give me the Angels to pick up the win and pick up the series sweep. Well, Tyler Anderson held his own. He was good in this one. 4 2/3, gives up just 3 earned runs. Could have been better, right? Could have gone deeper. But George Kirby said, shut the heck up, Gavin. Shut the heck up, anybody who doubted me. I'm an elite pitcher, and I just haven't shown it yet coming back from an injury, but he showed it today. 14 strikeouts, and again, a combination of a guy who's talented on the mound against an Angels lineup that already strikes out way too much and gives many pitchers season highs in terms of strikeouts. But this was really just a combination of some really bad, not combination. This was just bad at-bats from the Angels. I mean, obviously, Kirby has nasty stuff, but way too many times the Angels getting called for strike threes on pitches right there. Way too many times the Angels falling behind in counts. I believe there was only 2 at-bats the entire game against Kirby that reached 3 balls, which is incredible. This guy was just mowing through the lineup. The pitch count was extremely low. This guy, he had I think a 9-pitch at-bat against Mike Trout to open up the 7th inning. And still, after strike 3 there, he was still in the mid-80s in terms of pitches. Still no doubt he was going to get through that 7th inning. And if it wasn't for that long at-bat against Mike Trout, maybe we see him in the 8th. Right? Just mowed through the lineup. Absolutely no fight from the Angels outside of 2 hits in this ball game. We'll quickly get to those 2 hits in the 4th inning because, let's be honest, the Angels got lucky to even be in this game. They only had 2 hits, and they turned them both into runs. Mike Trout with a 2-out single on a well-hit, hard-hit ball, a 1-2 pitch. He's able to hit a down-and-away slider really hard into right field for a base hit, and then Taylor Ward comes up and takes one of Kirby's only mistakes in the ball game and crushes it. It was a 2-0 high sinker, and he just pummeled it 432 feet to left field. That made it 2-1. That's the irony of all this, is that we go into the top of the 5th inning with George Kirby somehow the losing pitcher despite all the strikeouts and just the 2 hits. But you knew it wasn't going to last. The Mariners had way too good of an offensive performance to only have 1 run. They still only end up with 3. But 11 hits, 3 runs for the Mariners. Certainly, they deserved to win this game with an Angels lineup that really didn't even deserve to have 2 runs. They couldn't even put the bat on the ball. But this is just a friendly reminder, right, to anyone, including myself, that watch the Angels have 5 games, 3 in Boston and 2 against the Mariners, where the offense looks good. They're not striking out as much, or even in games where they do strike out, they're able to put together some home runs. They're able to put together extra base hits like we saw yesterday and steal wins, right? But today was a reminder, this team strikes out way too much to be a consistently good lineup and a consistently winning baseball team. And boy, was this a wake-up call, right? So many guys that typically strike out, they struck out, right? Like, are we really surprised that Mike Trout struck out 3 times? That Taylor Ward struck out 2 times, that Chris Taylor struck out 2 times, that Joe Adell struck out 2 times, that Scott Kingery struck out 2 times, that Rengifo struck out 2 times, right? We're not surprised by any of those. Zach Neto going 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. That's the reason you strike out 18 times instead of a typical 11 from the Angels, is the fact that you got 3 from him. Every single hitter besides Jorge Soler, he's the only hitter, and he was a pinch hitter that only had 1 at-bat, right? Anybody who had at least 2 at-bats in this ball game struck out, and only 2 Angels hitters outside of Jorge Soler only struck out once. Ohapi and Shawnuel were the best Angels hitters in terms of strikeouts, and they struck out each once, but everyone else at least 2. You got a hat trick from Trout, a hat trick from Neto, and the Angels they showed no life, right? Guys like Trout, Ward looking at strike 3, looking even on your best at-bats, not getting it done. And like people are saying here in the comment section, rightfully so, Rengifo, a lot of questions need to be asked about him. As I always say, I'm not expecting everybody, or really anybody on the Angels, to be a 5-tool player, right? But when you have 1 or 2 things that you're supposed to contribute to this team and you're not even doing that, that's when questions need to be asked, right? Rengifo, you're not going to get any power. Really, he's a utility guy, but at this point, I wouldn't say he's really an above-average fielder. And on the bases, he's actually been a below-average base runner in terms of getting caught stealing, right? But the one thing you're supposed to get from Rengifo is a switch hitter that's going to hit for contact and not strike out. Well, how about another 2 strikeouts today, 0 for 3. He's hitting .206 with a 4.98 ERA. He's not doing anything, right? So questions need to be asked, right? Kingery, we know he's useless, but are you even a big league player? I mean, 100 average, 382 OPS. Come on, right? Come on. So that's what's frustrating, is guys like that who have one job and they're not even doing one thing, right? Guys like Neto and Shawnuel, even Trout and Ward, they're going to have their off days. Starting to get a little concerned about Logan Ohapi, because not only does he have the 2nd highest strikeout rate in all of Major League Baseball, but The guy doesn't even get base hits at this point. It's just an 0-4 just about every single time O'Hoppe plays. And that's why we're seeing Travis d'Arnaud a lot this season. Getting a little bit concerned about that, but certainly Rengifo, the biggest red flag. And you just had a feeling Joe Adell, after his performance yesterday, was going to lay an egg. And unfortunately, that's exactly what he did. Chris Taylor as well. But when we come back from our break, we'll talk a little bit about if this was a missed opportunity because of what the Angels did on the mound and defensively, holding the Mariners to just 3 runs. Was this a missed opportunity at a win, at a sweep, at, closing the gap with the Mariners and Astros in the AL West? Or was this just a game you expect the Angels to lose against a really good starting pitcher? We'll talk about that. We'll get to Tyler Anderson's performance, and we'll look ahead to another big opportunity, a 3-game series against the A's, after our break here on the Locked On Angels Postcast. Now, on this Sunday, today's show is brought to you by wonderful Pistachios. If you're looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious, crack into a good source of protein with wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1-ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better-for-you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. I love the no-shells variety. It's the perfect grab-and-go snack for someone like myself who goes to the gym every morning. It's always late, scrambling, rushing to work, and then at work is busy, but is also someone who is always looking for protein at all times. It's the perfect grab-and-go quick snack for that protein. But if you do like cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, the in-shell options are a classic favorite as well. So get snacking and cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Today's show is also brought to you by Gametime. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Gametime makes it possible. Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Back here live on a losing edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast. Angels fall 3-2. Angels strike out 18 times. 18 times. 14 off the hand of George Kirby as the Angels offense gets silenced after a couple of big outings, and they lose the opportunity to sweep the Mariners. I had the broom ready. I had it ready. And what a huge sweep it would have been. Even when the Angels were down 3-2, even after they had already struck out 14 times, I still had a feeling that the Angels were going to at least get one run in the 8th or 9th inning against the relievers to tie this game, send this one into extras, and give the Angels an opportunity at an exciting walk-off win to sweep the Mariners and get one step closer to that 500 record and making noise in the AL West. They do fall short. And real quick, we're going to answer the question of, is this a missed opportunity today? I'm curious what you guys think. You could say both. You could say, hey, Tyler Anderson gave you a decent outing, and more importantly, the bullpen gave you everything you needed to win this game. I mean, Hunter Strickland goes 2 1/3 innings, just gives up 2 hits, strikes out a guy, a scoreless 2 1/3. He still has not given up a run. And then Fermin comes in, gives up just 1 hit, and strikes out 3 in his inning and 2/3 before Brock Burke gets an out as well. The bullpen was good enough, and Tyler Anderson was okay enough in combination with that bullpen to deserve a win, right? But I'll be honest, this doesn't feel like a missed opportunity. This feels like a game the Angels deserve to lose. It feels like a game that was due, right? The Angels were due for a game. Even in their wins, there was games where they were putting up 8 runs on 6 hits or 8 runs on 8 hits, right? 9 runs on 7 hits, things like that, right? That's not sustainable, and we got a clear reminder of that today. I think the Angels deserve to lose this game, and let's be honest, we're Angels fans. We're the Angels. We can't get greedy. You won 2 out of 3 against a solid Mariners team, right? You got some help with Julio Rodriguez missing basically the entire game yesterday. You exceeded expectations and then some. A career high in extra bases given up by Luis Castillo yesterday. So you still did your job. You won 2 out of 3. And now what you must do is you must win 2 out of 3 against the A's upcoming, right? If you did that, then you would go 4-2 in this 6-game stand in the AL West. You would be 32 and 35, 3 games under 500, one step closer to getting to that 500 winning percentage. And again, you're in a wild card race, right? We're not going to talk about it too much. The AL West and the wild card, it's very tight, it's very competitive. And so the longer we're playing games that mean something, right? Going into the deadline, going into the All-Star break, make things interesting, right? That's all we can ask for at this moment. So it's a bummer we lost this game, but no need to panic. Still a successful series. Absolutely. We have to real quick talk a little bit more about Tyler Anderson because and start from him, right? This guy deserves to have a better record than he has. He picks up a loss here in a game that he does not deserve to pick up a loss, right? You would love for him to at least go 5 complete innings. You would love for him to allow less than 8 hits. You would love for him, to maybe go 6 innings and give up 3 earned runs, or 5 innings and give up 2. But 4 2/3, 3 earned runs is not enough to deserve an L for a guy who has a sub-4 ERA and only has 2 wins to show for it. Would love for us to help Tyler Anderson win a game he doesn't deserve to win. But, he didn't have his best stuff, right? Anytime there's an inning where you give up 5 singles, right? He gave up 5 singles in the 5th inning, was fortunate to only give up 2 runs in that inning, right? Could have been even worse. But anytime you do that, you clearly don't have your best stuff. Fortunately, it was all singles. The Mariners, kind of the opposite of the Angels. The Angels are able to hit a bunch of extra base hits when they only have a few hits. In this one, the Mariners, a team that normally gets a bunch of home runs from Kyle Raleigh, Julio Rodriguez, and others, just some base hits tonight for them, but they played small ball well enough to turn those 11 hits into 3 runs and steal a win. Obviously a bright spot is the bullpen. We will be happy about that. That gives us confidence going into the remainder of this, trip against the AL West with the A's coming to town. Have to feel like the Angels should win at least 2 with how the bullpen is pitching and with guys like Soriano and Kikuchi due up for the Angels rotation. Who knows? Maybe Reed Detmers gets added to that rotation as well. But I still feel decent about the Angels in their upcoming games against the A's. We'll quickly preview the matchup tomorrow because if you don't know, the A's will be coming to town at 6:38 first pitch. And I'm going to come out and say it. I think it is a must-win game. I'm sorry. Kikuchi on the mound, just 1-5, despite a 3.23 ERA. They don't know who's starting yet for the A's, but I think Kikuchi will be the best pitcher playing in this game tomorrow, and he's been playing well. He needs a win. What better team to get a win for a guy who needs one really, really bad than against the A's? So give me a win. I'm calling it. I know I have been absolutely horrible luck in terms of when I call wins or call losses, when I do shows and when I don't. I will be doing the show tomorrow, and I am calling a win. So if you're in a state where you can bet, might be pretty smart for you to bet against the Angels tomorrow, but I'm calling a win. I will be doing the show. Let's hope we can back up Kikuchi for once, get him his second win as an Angel, and get the A's series started off well. After Kikuchi, it's Soriano, right? So you have 2 of your best starting pitchers back-to-back. I would like the Angels, and I'm going to back the Angels to win both of those games and give us a sweep opportunity on Wednesday with Kyle Hendricks on the mound before we take Thursday off and then face the Orioles on Friday the 13th. So I if you want my prediction, I'm calling a sweep. I'm greedy. I think the Angels, obviously, this was a wake-up call. That's what I'm hoping it is. It's a wake-up call that we can't just rely on a couple extra base hits to win games. We need to have better at-bats. We need to, get on base or just put the bat on the ball more. And I think if we do, especially against a team like the A's that, they're going to put the bat on the ball, they're going to play small ball, they're going to try to not strike out, do the same against them. And I think we'll be just fine. We have more power than them. We have a better rotation than them, or at least the guys do up in the Angels rotation. And the bullpen has quietly been pretty darn good. So give me the sweep. I know some people in here are going to be frustrated that I'm calling the sweep because of how bad luck I've been, but give me the sweep. All right. Give me the sweep and we'll be just fine. We'll be right back near 500 with the Orioles coming to town on the weekend. But with all that being said, we're going to wrap this one up here early on Sunday. Have a great rest of your Sunday evening. Angels 2, Mariners 3, 18 strikeouts. It's not good. Not good. But Angel Antonio says, history says we get swept if Gavin's calling the sweep. But Mahoko and La Habra Sports, they agree with me that we need to sweep these A's. So let's do it. I'm getting greedy. I'm calling it. But again, thanks for tuning in today. Have a great rest of your Sunday night, and I'll see you back here tomorrow night after that series opener against the A's. Take care, everybody. Keep your head up. It's still a series win. It's still back-to-back series wins, and another one on the way. You heard it here first. Take care, everybody. I'll see you back here tomorrow.